What if the world you thought you knew was just a thin layer of reality, barely covering secrets we can't explain? Across history, humanity has stumbled upon mysteries so strange, so unsettling, they defy every attempt at logic. From lost civilizations whispering through ruins, to bizarre natural phenomena that twist science on its head, to objects appearing where they simply should not exist. The deeper we dig, the stranger the story becomes. Some of these mysteries leave us in awe, others chill us to the bone. But all of them raise the same question. How much do we really understand about the world we live in? So settle in, because we're about to step into the shadows of history, science, and the unknown. These are not just puzzles. They are cracks in the very foundation of what we believe to be true. Before we dive into this journey through the world's strangest unsolved mysteries, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive like this again. And hey, if you've got a theory of your own about any of these mysteries, share it down in the comments. Who knows? Your idea might just be the missing piece. 1. The Mystery of the Wow Signal. It was a warm August night in 1977 when a radio telescope in Ohio picked up something extraordinary. Astronomer Jerry Amon was scanning data, looking for the usual static from deep space, when suddenly, a strange, powerful signal appeared. Unlike the random noise we usually hear from the cosmos, this one was sharp, clear, and lasted a full 72 seconds. Jerry was so astonished, he circled it on the printout and scribbled one simple word in the margin. Wow. And just like that, the most famous mystery in the search for extraterrestrial life was born. But here's where it gets strange. Despite decades of searching, no one has ever heard the signal again. Some scientists suggested it could have been a comet, others blamed interference from Earth, and of course, many whispered the question we're all secretly thinking. Was it aliens trying to reach us? Think about it. A clear, unexplained signal beamed directly from the constellation Sagittarius, right near the heart of our galaxy. If it wasn't a message, what was it? And why has it never repeated? Even today, the wow signal stands as one of astronomy's most baffling puzzles. Was it a glitch of nature, or the first hello from an intelligent civilization out there in the stars? 2. The Lost City of Atlantis. For centuries, the legend of Atlantis has haunted storytellers, scholars, and adventurers. The very first mention comes from the Greek philosopher Plato, who described an advanced island civilization that flourished over 9,000 years before his time. According to him, Atlantis was a powerful naval empire, rich with knowledge and technology, until, in a single night, it sank beneath the sea. But here's the catch. Plato's account is the only detailed source we have. Was he passing down history, or crafting an allegory about human pride and downfall? That's the debate that has raged ever since. Over the years, Atlantis has been found in countless places, beneath the Mediterranean, under the sands of the Sahara, off the coast of Spain, even in the icy waters of Antarctica. Each new theory sparks excitement, but none have delivered definitive proof. And maybe that's part of why the myth endures. Because Atlantis isn't just about a lost city. It's about the dream of hidden worlds, forgotten civilizations, and the possibility that history is far older and stranger than we imagine. So, was Atlantis real? Or is it a cautionary tale that grew into one of humanity's greatest myths? Until we find ruins that match Plato's words, the mystery of Atlantis will remain floating between history and legend. 3. The Voynich Manuscript. In a quiet library at Yale University sits a book that has baffled the world for more than 600 years. It's called the Voynich Manuscript, and on the surface, It looks like any other medieval text. Handwritten pages, strange illustrations, faded ink. But here's the twist. No one can read it. The manuscript is written in an entirely unknown language, with symbols that don't match any writing system we've ever seen. Linguists, cryptographers, even code breakers from World War II, all of them have tried, and all of them have failed. Every attempt to crack its meaning has ended in frustration. Inside, the book is filled with bizarre drawings, strange plants that don't exist, astronomical charts that don't line up with our sky, and mysterious women bathing in pools connected by odd tubes. It almost feels like someone copied knowledge from another world, or created an elaborate hoax centuries ahead of its time. But here's the kicker. Chemical tests show the parchment is authentic, dating back to the early 1400s. So if it's a fake, it's one of the most brilliant forgeries ever made. Is the Voynich manuscript a forgotten medical text, a code hiding dangerous secrets, or simply an elaborate puzzle meant to drive us mad? Until someone cracks the code, it remains the most unreadable book on Earth. 4. The disappearance of the Roanoke colony. In 1587, more than 100 English settlers established a small colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They were the first attempt at a permanent English settlement in the New World. But just 3 years later, when supply ships returned from England, the colony had vanished. Every house, every fort, every trace of daily life, gone. There were no signs of struggle, no mass graves, no evidence of battle. The only clue? A single word carved into a wooden post. Croatoan. Historians have debated its meaning for centuries. Some believe the colonists may have joined a nearby Native American tribe called the Croatan. Others think they were wiped out by disease, famine, or hostile forces. A few even speculate they tried to sail back to England and were lost at sea. But here's what makes it so chilling. Despite countless excavations and research, no definitive evidence of their fate has ever surfaced. 115 men, women, and children, an entire community, simply disappeared. The lost colony of Roanoke remains one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries. Were they absorbed into another culture? Did they perish in silence? Or is their story still hidden beneath the soil of that island? Until proof emerges, Roanoke lingers as a haunting reminder of how quickly history can erase us. 5. The Dancing Plague of 1518. Picture this. It's the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg, a city along the Rhine. Out of nowhere, a woman named Frau Trophea steps into the street and begins to dance. Not joyfully, not gracefully, just uncontrollably. She dances for hours until exhaustion nearly collapses her body. But then, others join in. Within a week, dozens of townspeople are moving in a frenzy, their bodies jerking and swaying as if possessed. The strange dance spreads like wildfire, and soon more than 400 people are caught in the grip of an invisible force. Day after day, night after night, they cannot stop. Some collapse from sheer exhaustion, others die of strokes or heart attacks. Authorities, desperate to find a cure, actually made things worse. Believing the dancers needed to dance it out, they hired musicians and opened holes so the afflicted could keep moving. Instead of stopping the plague, it intensified it. So what caused this bizarre outbreak? Historians suggest mass hysteria, perhaps triggered by stress and famine. Others point to ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold that grows on rye bread. But no theory fully explains why so many people dance themselves to death. The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of history's strangest and most haunting events, a reminder of how fragile the human mind and body can be under mysterious forces. 6. The Tunguska explosion. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, the sky above Siberia lit up with fire. A massive explosion ripped through the remote Tunguska region, flattening over 80 million trees across an area larger than New York City. Witnesses described a blinding flash, followed by a shockwave so powerful it knocked people off their feet nearly 40 miles away. Yet when scientists finally reached the site years later, they found something deeply unsettling. No impact crater, no meteorite fragments, nothing that explained what had unleashed such devastation. The most accepted theory is that a space rock, perhaps a comet or asteroid, exploded in the atmosphere before hitting the ground, releasing energy equal to 1,000 Hiroshima bombs. But even that doesn't explain everything. Why were no fragments found? Why did some trees remain standing, stripped of their branches, as if scorched by a blast from above? And then there are the stranger theories. Some claim it was an alien spacecraft that exploded. Others suggest a secret experiment gone wrong, or even a natural gas eruption from beneath the Earth. More than a century later, the Tunguska explosion remains the largest unexplained blast in recorded history. A catastrophe powerful enough to remind us how vulnerable our planet truly is, and how little warning we might have if it ever happens again. 7. The Nazca Lines, stretching across the dry desert plains of southern Peru, are enormous designs etched into the ground, so vast you can only truly see them from the sky. Known as the Nazca Lines, these ancient geoglyphs include hundreds of shapes, straight lines stretching for miles, spirals, geometric patterns, and massive figures of animals like monkeys, hummingbirds, and spiders. Here's the mystery. They were created over 1,500 years ago, long before humans had the ability to fly. So how did the Nazca people design something that can only be fully appreciated from above? And more importantly, why? Some archaeologists suggest the lines had religious or astronomical purposes, possibly aligned with stars and solstices. Others believe they were part of rituals to summon rain in the arid desert climate. But then there are the more unconventional theories. The idea that they were created as landing strips for alien visitors, or as messages meant to be seen by gods in the sky. Despite decades of study, no single explanation has ever satisfied everyone. The sheer scale and precision of the Nazca Lines make them one of the world's most extraordinary archaeological puzzles. Standing there in the desert, surrounded by lines stretching endlessly into the horizon, one can't help but wonder, were the Nazca people trying to speak to the heavens, or were they answering a call from above? 8. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In the winter of 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on a trek through the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. They never made it home. Weeks later, search teams found their campsite abandoned under strange and terrifying circumstances. The hikers' tent had been slashed open from the inside, as if they fled in panic. Their bodies were discovered scattered across the snow, some dressed in little more than underwear, despite freezing conditions. Even stranger, several showed signs of gruesome injuries, fractured skulls, broken ribs, and one hiker missing her tongue. Yet there were no signs of struggle with another person. What could have caused such chaos? Official reports blamed a compelling natural force, but that only deepened the mystery. Theories range from an avalanche to military testing, secret weapons, and even UFO encounters. Radiation traces were found on some of the bodies, fueling speculation of something far more sinister. Despite multiple investigations, no conclusion has ever silenced the debate. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains an eerie, unresolved case, where logic seems to freeze in the snow. Were these hikers victims of a natural disaster, or did they stumble upon something humanity was never meant to see? The Ural Mountains still hold their secrets. 9. The Taos hum. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, a strange sound has been tormenting residents for decades. It's known simply as the hum, a persistent, low-frequency noise that only some people can hear. For those affected, it's maddening, a droning vibration that never seems to stop, most noticeable at night when the world is quiet. What's so bizarre is that not everyone hears it. While some locals describe it as a faint diesel engine idling in the distance, others hear nothing at all. Tests have shown no obvious source, no machinery, no geological activity, no hidden frequencies. Yet the hum continues. Scientists have tried to investigate, recording sound levels and studying the area, but no clear explanation has emerged. Some theories suggest it's the result of unusual acoustic phenomena, or even the sensitivity of certain people's hearing. Others believe it could be caused by underground activity, secret military experiments, or something stranger entirely. And Taos isn't alone. Reports of mysterious hums have surfaced in places around the world, from Canada to the UK to New Zealand, each with their own frustrated hearers. Whether it's a natural phenomenon or a sound from an unknown source, the Taos hum remains one of the eeriest mysteries you can't quite escape, because once you hear it, it may never leave you. 10. The Antikythera mechanism. In 1901, divers off the coast of a small Greek island called Antikythera stumbled upon the wreck of an ancient ship. Among the treasure of statues and artifacts, they found something that seemed utterly out of place, a corroded hunk of bronze, filled with intricate gears. At first, no one knew what it was, but over time, scientists realized they were looking at the world's first known analog computer. The device, now known as the Antikythera mechanism, dates back over 2,000 years. When reconstructed, it revealed a complex system of gears designed to predict astronomical events, solar eclipses, lunar phases, even the movement of planets. It's an ancient machine so advanced it shouldn't have existed until 1,000 years later. How did the ancient Greeks build something with such precision? No other artifact from that era even comes close. Some believe it was the product of a genius inventor whose knowledge was lost to history. Others wonder if it suggests ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we give them credit for. The Antikythera mechanism rewrote what we thought we knew about ancient technology. And yet, it also raises unsettling questions. If one device like this survived, how much other knowledge has been lost to time, resting silently beneath the waves? 11. The Phaistos Disk. In 1908, archaeologists digging at the Minoan Palace of Phaistos on the island of Crete unearthed something unlike anything seen before. It was a small clay disk, about the size of a hand, covered on both sides with strange symbols pressed into a spiral pattern. This became known as the Phaistos disk, and to this day, no one knows what it says. The disk features 242 symbols, many resembling everyday objects: plumed heads, shields, tools, plants, animals. But the way they're arranged suggests a written language. Here's the twist. That language doesn't exist anywhere else. It isn't Greek. It isn't linear A or B, the scripts of Minoan civilization. And it doesn't match any known writing system on Earth. Some researchers think the disk could be a hymn, a prayer, or even a game board. Others believe it might be a code or record of laws. And of course, there are those who argue it could be an elaborate forgery planted in the dig, though most scholars agree it's authentic. Despite countless attempts, no one has been able to crack the meaning of its mysterious spiral. Was it a lost script from a forgotten culture? A one-of-a-kind artifact from a vanished language? Until we discover another piece to compare it with, the Phaistos disk remains one of archaeology's most tantalizing riddles. 12. The Oak Island Money Pit. Off the coast of Nova Scotia lies a small island with one of the most legendary mysteries in history, the Oak Island Money Pit. It began in 1795, when a teenager discovered a strange depression in the ground. Curious, he and his friends started digging, and what they found would spark over 2 centuries of obsession. Just a few feet down, they uncovered wooden platforms, one after another, stacked every 10 feet. The deeper they dug, the stranger it became. But then, the pit suddenly flooded with seawater, making it nearly impossible to continue. Ever since, countless treasure hunters have tried to solve its secrets, spending fortunes, risking lives, and fueling endless speculation. What lies at the bottom? Some believe it's pirate treasure, perhaps even Captain Kidd's hoard. Others say it could be the lost manuscripts of Shakespeare, hidden Templar relics, or even evidence of pre-Columbian explorers. Dozens of shafts, tunnels, and high-tech digs have been attempted, yet no definitive treasure has ever been recovered. Instead, Oak Island has swallowed fortunes and claimed several lives, its secret stubbornly buried beneath layers of earth, rock, and mystery. Is it truly a treasure vault, or just a natural sinkhole that tricked hopeful diggers for generations? Until someone reaches the bottom, the Oak Island Money Pit remains one of the world's most enduring enigmas. 13. The Green Children of Woolpit. Sometime in the 12th century, in the quiet English village of Woolpit, farmers stumbled upon a sight that must have seemed straight out of folklore. 2 children, brother and sister, were found near a pit, their skin a strange greenish hue. They spoke no recognizable language. Their clothes were unlike anything seen in the region, and at first, they refused to eat any food except raw beans. Over time, the children adjusted to village life. Their skin gradually lost its green tint, and they learned to eat normal food. Sadly, the boy grew ill and died, but the girl survived and eventually learned to speak English. And when she did, her story only deepened the mystery. She claimed that she and her brother came from a place she called the Land of Saints, Martin, a world of perpetual twilight where the sun never rose and everything was dim and shadowy. She said they became lost, followed a strange sound, and somehow emerged in Woolpit. Historians have debated this tale for centuries. Was it an allegory, a case of malnutrition causing their unusual skin tone? Or did these children truly come from another realm, perhaps even another dimension? The legend of the Green Children of Woolpit still lingers, blurring the line between history, myth, and the unknown. 14. The Mystery of Stonehenge. Rising from the green plains of southern England stands a circle of colossal stones, massive slabs weighing up to 25 tons each, arranged with astonishing precision. This is Stonehenge, one of the most mysterious monuments on Earth. Built over 4,000 years ago, it has captivated archaeologists, historians, and dreamers ever since. The sheer logistics alone are baffling. How did ancient builders, with no wheels strong enough and no advanced machinery, transport these stones from quarries miles away? Some came from as far as Wales, nearly 150 miles distant. Moving them across rivers, hills, and plains would have required ingenious methods, or knowledge we've yet to rediscover. But perhaps the bigger question is why. Some believe Stonehenge was an ancient temple, aligned with the solstices to mark the movement of the sun. Others think it was a burial ground, a healing site, or even a kind of prehistoric observatory used to track eclipses and stars. And then there are the more unconventional theories that Stonehenge was influenced by lost civilizations or even extraterrestrial visitors. Whatever its purpose, Stonehenge still stands as a silent reminder of humanity's ancient ambition. Each stone is like a frozen heartbeat of history, challenging us to imagine a world where myth, ritual, and science were all intertwined. 15. The Devil's Footprints. It was a bitterly cold night in February 1855 when something strange left its mark across the countryside of Devon, England. After a heavy snowfall, villagers woke to find a trail of mysterious footprints stretching for over 100 miles. But these weren't the ordinary tracks. Each print was shaped like a cloven hoof, about 4 inches long, pressed deep into the snow as though made by something walking upright. Even more disturbing, the tracks didn't stop at obstacles. They seemed to march straight over rooftops, across frozen rivers, through haystacks, and over high walls, as if nothing physical could block their path. Panic spread quickly. Locals whispered that the devil himself had walked through Devon that night, searching for souls. Some refused to leave their homes after dark. Others prayed for protection from whatever creature had stalked their land. Scientists and skeptics later offered explanations. Perhaps it was badgers, kangaroos escaped from a private collection, or even peculiar weather effects causing odd prints. But none of these theories fully account for the scale, precision, or sheer distance of the tracks. To this day, the Devil's Footprints remain one of England's creepiest unsolved mysteries, an event where superstition and reality blurred, leaving behind a trail that still haunts the imagination. 16. The Bermuda Triangle. Between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico lies a stretch of ocean that has swallowed ships and planes for centuries, the infamous Bermuda Triangle. On maps, it looks like an ordinary patch of sea, but in stories, it's a place where the laws of nature seem to break down. One of the most famous cases happened in 1945, when 5 U.S. Navy bombers, known as Flight 19, vanished during a routine training mission. Radio communications grew frantic. Pilots reported their compasses spinning wildly, the sky turning strange, the ocean looking different. Then silence. Search planes sent after them also disappeared. Not a single wreckage was ever found. And Flight 19 is just one of many. Ships have been discovered adrift with crews missing. Planes have vanished mid-flight. Some vessels were found completely intact, meals still on tables, but with not a soul on board. Explanations range from the scientific, unpredictable weather, methane gas eruptions, magnetic anomalies, to the supernatural, time warps, alien abductions, or gateways to another dimension. Skeptics argue the Bermuda Triangle is no deadlier than any other heavily traveled ocean route. Yet the sheer number of bizarre disappearances keeps the legend alive. Whether it's nature at its strangest or something beyond our understanding, the Bermuda Triangle continues to draw us in, an oceanic riddle where adventure and fear collide. 17. The WOW Signal Revisited. More than 4 decades after that famous night in 1977, the WOW signal still lingers as one of astronomy's greatest enigmas. Scientists have searched tirelessly for another signal like it, scanning the skies with far more powerful telescopes, listening for even the faintest whisper from the stars. But nothing has ever quite matched it. Some skeptics argue it was simply a natural phenomenon, a passing comet releasing hydrogen gas that mimicked a radio signal. But others point out flaws in that theory. Comets don't usually produce a signal so strong, so narrow, and so perfectly aligned with the frequency scientists believed extraterrestrials might use. And then there's the sheer location. The signal came from the constellation Sagittarius, close to the galactic center, a place bursting with stars, planets, and possibilities. If someone out there wanted to send a message, what better cosmic address to choose? The silence since then makes it even more tantalizing. Was the wow signal a one-time accidental broadcast from a distant civilization? Or did we simply miss the follow-up, like a phone ringing once in the night and never again? Whatever the truth, the wow signal has become a symbol of our search for connection, a reminder that in the vast darkness of space, even a single unexplained whisper is enough to make us wonder, are we alone? 18. The Zodiac Killer. In the late 1960s, fear gripped Northern California. A mysterious figure calling himself the Zodiac Killer began a reign of terror, taunting police, terrorizing the public, and leaving behind a trail of bodies. What set him apart wasn't just the violence, but the chilling way he communicated. The Zodiac sent cryptic letters and ciphers to newspapers, some boasting about murders, others threatening more to come. In one message, he declared, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." He often signed with a strange symbol, a circle with a cross through it, that became his calling card. Despite intense investigations, the Zodiac seemed to vanish as suddenly as he appeared. His confirmed victims numbered at least 5, but he claimed to have killed dozens more. The letters stopped, the trail went cold, and his identity was never uncovered. Over the years, countless suspects have been named, from local men to infamous drifters. Amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike have pored over the unsolved ciphers, hoping they might reveal the killer's name. A few codes have been cracked, but none brought us closer to the truth. Was the Zodiac an ordinary man hiding in plain sight, a criminal mastermind who outwitted the system, or someone who died before justice caught up? Until his mask is lifted, the Zodiac Killer remains a shadow in American history. 19. The ghost ship Mary Celeste. On December 4th, 1872, a Canadian brigantine named the Mary Celeste was spotted drifting in the Atlantic Ocean. When sailors boarded her, they found the ship in seaworthy condition. The cargo, thousands of barrels of industrial alcohol, was untouched. Supplies and provisions were intact. Even the crew's personal belongings were still in place. But the people themselves? Gone. Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, their young daughter, and 7 crew members had all vanished without a trace. The lifeboat was missing, but there were no signs of struggle, no evidence of piracy, and no damage to suggest a sudden disaster. Theories flooded in. Some suggested the crew abandoned ship after a sudden fear of explosion from the alcohol fumes. Others whispered about mutiny, sea monsters, or even abduction by extraterrestrials. A few suspected insurance fraud or foul play, though no proof was ever found. What makes the Mary Celeste so haunting is the atmosphere of normalcy left behind. It was as if the crew simply stood up mid-meal and stepped off the ship, never to return. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened in those vast Atlantic waters. The Mary Celeste remains the ultimate ghost ship, sailing forever in mystery, her empty decks echoing with the silence of the unknown. 20. The Great Pyramids of Giza. Rising from the desert sands of Egypt, the Great Pyramids of Giza have stood for more than 4,500 years. Built as tombs for pharaohs, they remain some of the most extraordinary monuments ever created. But how, with primitive tools and no modern machinery, did ancient Egyptians manage such a feat? The Great Pyramid of Khufu alone is made of over 2 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons. Moving, lifting, and aligning them with such precision, down to a fraction of an inch, feels almost impossible even today. Some stones were quarried miles away and somehow transported across desert and river. Archaeologists have theories, ramps, pulleys, and sheer manpower. But the exact method remains uncertain. The logistics of feeding, housing, and organizing tens of thousands of workers adds another layer of mystery. Then there are the mathematical puzzles. The pyramid's proportions align almost perfectly with cardinal directions, and some argue they encode astronomical knowledge, like the positions of stars or even the Earth's circumference. Was this advanced planning, or a coincidence born from geometry? Over the centuries, theories have stretched from the plausible to the fantastical. Hidden technologies, lost civilizations, even alien architects. While mainstream historians credit human ingenuity, the pyramids still spark a sense of wonder. Perhaps that's their greatest mystery, not just how they were built, but how they continue to inspire awe thousands of years later. 21. The Somerton Man. On a crisp morning in December 1948, a man's body was discovered slumped against a seawall on Somerton Beach, near Adelaide, Australia. He wore a suit and polished shoes, but carried no wallet, no identification, nothing to reveal who he was. His labels had been cut from his clothing, and even his fingerprints matched no records. The case grew stranger when investigators found a tiny piece of paper hidden in a secret pocket of his pants. On it were two words, Tamam Shud, Persian for "it is finished." The phrase was traced back to a rare book of poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. But who was this man, and why did he die with such a cryptic message in his pocket? Soon, a copy of the book was found with a torn page that matched the note. Inside were scribbled codes and a phone number linked to a woman living nearby. She claimed no knowledge of the man, though her reaction seemed uneasy. Autopsy reports suggested poisoning, but no trace of poison was ever detected. Some whispered he was a spy, caught in Cold War intrigue. Others believed it was a tragic love affair gone wrong. Decades later, DNA analysis has offered hints about his identity, but the full story remains elusive. The Somerton Man is still one of Australia's deepest mysteries, a riddle written in silence. 22. The Tunguska Event. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, the sky above Siberia erupted with a blinding flash of light. Moments later, a colossal explosion thundered across the remote Tunguska region. The blast flattened an estimated 80 million trees across 800 square miles, an area larger than some modern cities. Witnesses, even hundreds of miles away, described seeing a fireball streak through the heavens and feeling a shockwave strong enough to knock people off their feet. Yet, despite the scale of destruction, no impact crater was ever found. That mystery has puzzled scientists for over a century. The leading theory suggests a meteor or comet exploded in the atmosphere before hitting the ground, releasing energy equal to thousands of Hiroshima bombs. But without fragments or an impact site, the evidence remains incomplete. Other explanations drift into the bizarre. Some claim it was an alien craft that malfunctioned. Others speak of a natural gas eruption, or even a miniature black hole passing through Earth. The Tunguska event reminds us how vulnerable our planet is to cosmic forces beyond our control. In fact, if the blast had occurred just hours later, it might have devastated a populated city in Europe, not a lonely forest. To this day, Tunguska is a warning written in scorched earth and fallen trees, a mystery where nature keeps its secrets close. 23. The Wow Signal. On August 15, 1977, a radio telescope in Ohio picked up something extraordinary. Astronomer Jerry Amon was scanning the skies with the Big Ear telescope when he noticed a strange sequence of numbers and letters, a powerful narrowband radio signal coming from deep space. In the margin of the printout, Overwhelmed by its clarity, he scribbled one word: wow. The name stuck, and the wow signal became one of the most intriguing mysteries in the search for extraterrestrial life. Unlike background noise or ordinary cosmic radiation, this signal was incredibly strong, lasting 72 seconds before fading away. It seemed to come from the constellation Sagittarius, near a region rich with stars. Yet, despite repeated attempts, the signal was never detected again. Was it a message from intelligent life, or just an unusual burst of natural cosmic activity? Some scientists argue it could have been a reflection from a passing comet, or a rare type of interstellar phenomenon. Others insist its precision hinted at something more deliberate, perhaps a transmission from another civilization reaching across the cosmos. What makes it so tantalizing is its singularity. In decades of listening to the stars, nothing else quite like the wow signal has ever reappeared. Was it a cosmic accident, or the briefest whisper from an intelligent neighbor we've yet to meet? 24. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In the summer of 1518, the streets of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, were filled with music of an unusual kind, the sound of hundreds of feet stamping endlessly. It all began when a woman named Frau Trophea stepped into the street and began dancing uncontrollably. Hours passed, then days, and she still could not stop. Soon, others joined her, as if seized by the same strange compulsion. Within weeks, dozens, possibly hundreds, were dancing through the streets. They twirled, leapt, and collapsed from exhaustion, only to rise again and continue. Some danced until their feet bled. Others reportedly died from heart attacks, strokes, or sheer exhaustion. Local leaders were baffled. Thinking it was an illness of the blood, they even hired musicians to encourage the dancers, hoping the frenzy would burn itself out. Instead, the music only fueled the madness. What caused this bizarre outbreak? Historians have offered theories. Some point to ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold that grows on damp rye. Others suggest mass hysteria, triggered by stress and fear in a time of famine and disease. Yet no single explanation fully captures the eerie scene of an entire city compelled to dance itself into oblivion. The dancing plague remains one of history's strangest and most unsettling mysteries, a reminder of how little we understand about the human mind. 25. The Taos hum. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, a strange sound has puzzled residents for decades. Known simply as the Taos hum, it's a low-frequency rumble, often compared to the distant growl of a diesel engine idling somewhere just out of sight. Here's the odd part. Not everyone can hear it. Only about 2% of the population reports being sensitive to the sound, which makes it all the more unsettling. For those who do hear it, the hum can be maddening, disrupting sleep, causing headaches, and creating a constant sense of unease. Scientists have tried to uncover the source. Some suggest hidden industrial equipment, radio signals, or geological vibrations. Others point toward psychological explanations, like the brain amplifying background noise. Yet, despite studies, no clear origin has ever been found. Naturally, this has fueled more exotic theories. Some believe it's a secret military experiment, others a natural resonance of the Earth itself, and still others whisper that it might even be extraterrestrial. What makes the Taos hum particularly fascinating is its blend of the personal and the mysterious. Unlike global enigmas, this one lives in the ears of a select few, leaving others skeptical. To those who hear it, however, it's undeniable, a sound that refuses to fade. The hum continues, a reminder that not all mysteries lie in distant stars or ancient ruins. Sometimes they hum quietly in our own backyards.